Casey, do you smell that?
Oh, what is that?
I think we made it to hump day.
Oh, I think we did. It smells like hump day. What does that smell like?
It smells like
tequila.
It smells like tequila and a hump day.
Yeah, baby.
With our tequila sunrise, let's cheers before we even intro.
Yes.
Ready? Sip and see.
Spirits and mediums.
Wild and free.
Cheers, you guys.
Woo, woo, woo. We made
I
it.
like that smell of hump day. She smells good.
I'm Kalina Converse.
I'm Kaci Carlson.
And this is
Medium Mixology.
Yay!
Oh, welcome, welcome.
We're going to start with chills of the week.
Yes, let's dive right in.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. So I have one. I was out with a friend and we're at dinner and my kids were home. My son, my 12-year-old, he had a really rough week. And I was kind of thinking about him, and then I was trying to really be present with my friend. She was going through some stuff as well. So I was really I was really present, listening to her. And as she's talking, she was telling me what had happened this week for her. And I kept hearing, call Logan. And I was like, no, I'm going to keep, I'm here. I gotta wait. I was feeling torn. That whole mom guilt was coming in. And then it shifted. And I said, grab your phone. He's going to call you. And as she's talking, I just grabbed my purse. I'm still maintaining eye contact with her. I'm like, I'm listening. I'm here. But it wouldn't be quiet, right? That voice.
Yep.
And so I grab my purse. I pull out my phone. And as she's talking, it was a loud restaurant. You could barely hear. My ringer's so quiet anyways. And I look down and full on it's ringing and it's Logan. And I was like, girl, I am so sorry. She's like, no. And she knew he was going through stuff. So she's like, no, I know you need to talk to him. And I was like, hey, bud. And he's like, Mom, I really need to talk to you. It just was so sweet. I don't want to share his personal stuff on here, but it was really sweet to hear.
Yep.
Hey, he's going to call you, grab your phone. Like, he needed me.
Yeah.
And so it's hard when you feel torn like that. Like, I want to show up for my friend, but then also, obviously, my babies come first. Always.
Yeah, I feel like that's like mom guilt.
It is.
Totally. And I think every mom has it.
Yeah.
Those who work, those who don't.
Yep. And then you just feel torn, trying to find time for yourself, but also...
And trying to be there for your friends. And check all the boxes. I think that balance is so hard.
Yeah, it is. But in that moment, I was really thankful. I could listen to my intuition, that I was like, okay, I hear it. I'm not going to ignore it. Yes. It said like 3 times. So that was cool.
That is so cool.
It was really sweet. And he was good after we talked. He was happy. He was
I'm glad you listened.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Totally.
How about you? What was yours?
Okay, my chills of the week is a whole day, actually. So I had YTT on Saturday, and they like to ask questions about the psychic stuff, which I love. I could talk about all day long, but I have to keep it
separate.
Yep, I do have to keep it separate. And we were going through the chakras, and the third eye chakra we need a series on the chakras on here.
100%.
Next week is clairtangency.
Yeah.
The psychometry. But after that, let's jump into the chakras.
I would love that.
Yeah, me too, because I could talk about that all day long, and I think that's a huge part of how I opened.
Me too. Yeah, to where you become just a channel. Once those are open, we are downloading.
I feel like you have to understand those.
It's essential. Yeah.
Totally. Mm-hmm. So we were talking about the chakras and the third eye, which is your seat of intuition. And they were asking me a lot of really good questions on how to open your intuition. And as they were asking, stuff started coming in, and I started reading everybody, and I was like, I can't,
it's overwhelming.
There's just so much. It makes you feel a little bit like you're schizo.
Yes, we've talked about
voices
that.
Everywhere, and it's
crazy.
And I couldn't help myself. I was like, hey, I'll call her Lori. I was like, hey, Lori, did you have a boyfriend that passed of this? And she was like, yes. And I had to stop myself because I want to do that all day long, but I can't because I actually have to teach him yoga.
Yes.
And so I was like, okay, this isn't a medium reading. So we have to move on, guys. But then even after I tried to move on, I had to remove myself. I said, I need to take 2 minutes, guys. I had to remove myself, go to the back of the studio, and I had to take a couple of grounding breaths and be like, okay, I see and hear and acknowledge all of you, but this is not the time or the place, so I need to respectfully close this down.
You're like, shop is closed, come back later when I'm open.
And the craziest thing about that is that night I did a reading. And I did a reading, it was a group reading for 6 people. And it was on Zoom. And when I did this Zoom reading, there were 6 people present, and my mom was sitting next to me. It was a family thing. And it was a lovely reading. I am really proud of myself because sometimes when it's just a whole bunch of faces on a camera, it's hard to distinguish what messages go to who. And I feel like I got to all of them and gave them all a clear, direct message from the other side, which was really nice. And I walked away feeling really good about it. And I hope
that's huge.
Thank you.
Let's back up. So did you feel like, to kind of help our listeners, do you feel like when you're there and there's that group, is it similar to when we're doing it in person and you're almost like energetically turned in that direction?
It's very different. And I told them before I started, I was like, it was the first time I had met these people. And I said, you guys, when I'm in a live reading, I'll feel pulled to a person in the audience. But when it's on a camera, it's actually kind of more difficult because they're all just faces on a screen.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell where you're being pulled. But I guess even
you're like,
still,
is it the top right box or middle bottom?
Yeah, it really is. But even still, I kind of was like, okay, wait, I'm feeling, and I'll just use one example. I was like, what's up with the tattoo? Is there somebody honoring her with a tattoo? Like, and her sister was like, I just got a tattoo of her last night.
Oh,
and I was like,
so
that's her way of acknowledging that she sees and she appreciates and she loves. And I love that her personality came through. Like I felt her personality. It is the best. I love doing readings for that because you like feel, and she was such a fun girl, right?
Yeah.
And so like I felt her personality and I felt like she was larger than life and wonderful energy.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad I got to do a reading for them. And I told them all about the podcast. So I hope you guys are listening.
Welcome if you are. Hi.
Yeah, it was so nice to meet them. And I hope I provided a little bit of hope and healing for them. But that night, as I was falling asleep in that twilight, I thought of you again because it wasn't just, it was all of the other side was like open coming in and like people from my YTT class that need messages. And I was like, what, wait, how do I shut this down? Like, it was like I went back to like this super strength and it was super fun. But then I was up till 3 a.m. because I was like, hey guys, need my sleep. Like,
yes, it can be so overwhelming. Overwhelming.
I kept saying to myself, I am in charge of it. It is not in control of me.
Yes, yeah. I think that does help. But almost it kind of just depends on, I don't know what it is. If you're just more open in that moment or what's going on, or they're just like, hey, you connected with us earlier, so now we're ready to download
I wonder how much, do you have a lot of caffeine during the day?
I'll have like a cup or 2 of coffee. I don't drink a ton because it messes with my adrenals.
Yeah, I wonder if there's something about, I had coffee that day, and I wonder if there's something about not being able to fall asleep because of the physical body, and then the mind is in that state of twilight between awake and asleep. And when it is there, that's when you receive the most information.
Maybe, but this would happen to me when I was little, and I wasn't even allowed to drink caffeine growing up. I don't know. So like I never had any for years. In fact, I didn't really literally did not drink caffeine until I was in my mid to late 30s.
So it's not caffeine. I wonder if it has to do with
I think you were open and they already connected to you. And it's like, wait, we have more. And because you were with the group of people in your YTT before and stuff was coming through then, and you kind of shut it down. You're like, no, I'm working. I need to focus on yoga. And you shut it down. But then they came back to you later that night like, hey, we know you heard us earlier. We're back.
I was in a bed that I don't normally sleep in, and I was very uncomfortable all night. So I couldn't get, so I was restless anyway. So that's what made me think that maybe because I was already like not fully falling into a deep sleep, that if that's why it was like that twilight.
It could be. If you get woken up, I swear there is something to that between the hours of 2 and 4. It's a reason why they call it the witching hour. Like it really is that between 2 to 4, if you can't fall asleep or you get woken up between those hours, for myself and my son, my 12-year-old who's a medium, it is really hard to shut it down. It's almost like something opens up, like this portal opens up to the heavens and like they're just there right next to you. So if you can get into that deep sleep and sleep through to 4 a.m., you're golden. Like you're good.
Totally.
But if you get woken up, good luck falling back asleep. At least for me, that's been my experience. It's hard. It's hard to shut it down.
Totally is.
Yeah, something about those hours.
Yeah, it made me think of you because I know that it's always like
It's the hardest at night. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just so active.
I'm like, I need to call Kaci at 3 a.m.
Girl, you know what I've been up.
I know.
I was like, I probably was. We hang out with the spirits.
Right. I love
That's
it.
so cool you had that, though. And I'm so proud of you that you just leaned
Thank
into
you.
it. Yeah, that you're
You
like,
know,
I got this.
My mom was like, are you nervous? And I was like, no.
I love that.
I wasn't nervous at all. And I was just there and ready. And I didn't even finish giving my spiel before I started getting messages. And
that's so cool.
I know. And it was very cool. It makes me want to do it more. Like if I can help like a person a day, I'd have to quit my day job.
You would. You'll be broke.
and I'd have a lot of students sad at me. So I can't finish my yoga. But I just wish there was more time to do medium stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I want to do it all. I need, like, 40 hours every day.
Oh, girl. We need 2 days in one every day.
I know.
Yeah. 24 hours is not enough.
Yep, totally. So, Case, what are we talking about today?
Today, we are talking about Clairgustance.
Say it again,
this is
slower.
Clairgustance. Gustance. So this is your clear tasting.
Yeah.
Your sense of taste. And so have you ever had where you're just like chilling, hanging out with your friend? Could be like right now, Kalina and I hanging out. And all of a sudden you're like, I'm like tasting chocolate chip cookies. Like, what is this? All of a sudden I'm like craving chocolate chip cookies. I swear I am tasting my grandma's chocolate chip cookies, right? Specifically.
Yeah.
You know the recipe I'm talking about that only your grandma knows how to do. There's something special about it. And I'm like, no, these are grandma's cookies. So if you ever have that is one of your abilities, one of your clairs where grandma is coming through and she's kind of like, hey, you remember how much you loved my cookies?
Totally.
And so, that's just one little example, but you can have, all the different tastes and flavors and the sour and I don't know, maybe that reminds you.
Do you think this is a really strong one for you?
This is not my strongest. No, not at all. It's when
not mine either.
Yeah.
I feel like this isn't the first to develop for a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We've said, I think, clairsentience, that feeling, that gut feeling of just knowing that something's off or someone's lying or something.
Or like the clair empathy. So many empathetic people out there, empaths, they really can tap into that.
Yeah, and I feel like some of the other clairs are a little stronger. Mm-hmm. I feel like Clairgustance is not commonly known, so it's not commonly like developed because you can't work out what you don't know about.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. And it's like it's funny. It's that superpower when you're pregnant to where you can, your senses are heightened, but especially taste and smell. When you're pregnant, it's like, oh my word, you taste everything to the max.
Yes.
And so you almost have to lean into that ability. I don't know, to really be open to it in a way. And as Kalina and I were reading through this and we're kind of going over some of our notes and things we want to talk about, I've told Kalina how before, this is not one of my strong clairs. And I really want to tap into this more. I would love to be able to open this one up. And then I had like a download and I had a memory flashback to about 2 years ago. And it was almost like, I remember specifically, I'm sitting at my table that I get ready in the morning. I have my makeup there and everything. This happened though for days. And every time I would sit in that spot specifically, I don't know why, I would start to taste metal. And me being into like, I love all the anatomy and all the health and wellness and herbs and medicine, all of that. I, of course, automatically went to, well, Case, you're anemic. You're tasting metal. You need to go take some nettle. You need to go take some iron. One more thing. No, I was like, one more thing we're connected on. We're both anemic. Yeah. Cheers to anemia. Oh, yes. Yeah. We could be weak and lightheaded together. Girl, I know you get it. Mm-hmm. And so that is one of the signs, though, physically, really, if you're tasting that, it's like, okay, you are actually anemic. But I had my blood work done not that long before, and it wasn't awful. Yes, I was still in that like range of anemia, but not so bad that I need like a transfusion. And I started to think, well, maybe it dipped the past couple months since that blood work. But then just now, as I was reading through the notes, I had like a download that was my brother coming through. My brother was anemic and I think that was just his way of connecting in a different way. Like I've seen him, heard him, felt him. And then it was almost like I could taste the anemia, what he experienced. Yeah. And so, like he had blood transfusions and all kinds of things. He had leukemia. Yeah. And so he would get really anemic as well with the chemotherapy. Yeah. And so now I'm realizing because it lasted for, a couple of days. Like I said, I would sit there to get ready and I would taste it again. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
I think he was sitting next to me hanging out.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yes, and because when I would get ready for school, it's funny because I would be getting ready for school, doing my makeup in front of my mirror in my bedroom, and he would come in and kind of stand at the entryway to my door and just be like, hey, Case, what's up? What are you doing? I'm like, I'm just getting ready, whatever. And we would just kind of shoot the breeze while I'd be doing my makeup. And so this whole thing, as we're sitting here, I have like this full connection, like download moment that my brother was like, Case, that was me.
I love that.
Yeah, because, and the reason I feel like I know that wasn't physical is that it went away. If it was something I need to address physically, obviously, check in with your doctor if you're tasting a lot of metal. It did, it eventually kind of dissipated, it went away.
So I think that knowledge is always half the battle. Like, you don't know something until you know it. And then the second you recognize, it's like now the world is your oyster and it'll just open up.
Yes.
Which is why I love teaching about all the clairs, is because I think a lot of them are uncommon. And once you kind of know and you can put words and associate memories to it, you're like, wait, I actually might have this. And when I was doing the reading on Saturday, my mom had asked me because she was watching me do the reading and she was like, how did you get the tattoo? And I said, I saw the word written out. And then there was something with the necklace and I heard necklace or jewelry or whatever. And then, so like, I see some things, I hear some things, some things are just a drop in and I know them. Some things, at one point I said, I'm smelling perfume. What's with the perfume? And her daughter had said, I spray her perfume about 15 times a day because I want to remember her. Yeah. And her brother was like, yeah, it's too much. She's drowning us with the smell. But like, I very much smelt that, and those are using all the clairs, all the sentences. But if you're not, like, if you don't know to use them, then,
you can't access them when you need them.
So then when I'm like, wait, what am I smelling right now? And I was like, what's with the perfume?
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I love that.
So the only one I really have, and I mentioned this last time when we did clairalience, the sense of smell, is I will taste, I know this is so gross, but I will taste COVID on people.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So like I'll taste like that sickness with people. And I'll say it's actually a lot of sickness, not just COVID.
Like pneumonia, any type of illness.
Yes. Like you almost feel like I can't explain the taste of an illness, but there's different taste illnesses.
Do you feel like it comes through as taste, so clairgustance, and then maybe comes through another clair? Like you hear it or you see it spelled out?
Yeah, probably. COVID is very distinct. I can't even describe it. It's so like...
You just know that's COVID.
Yes. I'm like, ugh. So if they passed of COVID, I'll get that. Or if they had a major health, something went on with COVID, I will get that. And I'll be like, okay. But then other illnesses, I feel that too. Water in the lungs, actually. I'll like almost taste like a salty, like ocean breeze sometimes. Or like if they drown, I'll feel, you know what I mean? Like sometimes,
like that taste when you go swimming and you swallow that
saline or something.
Water.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's really cool. Yeah.
But I don't think it's one of my strongest ones either.
Yeah. And I don't know that I personally know a psychic medium that's like their initial, like, oh, I kill it with clairgustance.
Yeah.
Like that is my baby. I got clairgustance down.
No, but I do have, I went through our email and picked out some people that had written us, and there were a couple stories.
Oh, let's hear.
Somebody, I'm going to summarize, but this woman had emailed and said, I keep tasting my husband's favorite peppermint candy, even when I'm not eating anything. And she said she was realizing it happened every time she was thinking of remarrying. And eventually she said, do you think this is a sign that her husband was encouraging her to move forward with love?
I feel like it was, just as you're
totally,
reading that.
I think that's so sweet.
That was like his go ahead, like his thumbs up. Like, I totally support this. Yeah, go for it. Well, you know what? Here's some good tips, too, to kind of help you strengthen this ability for clairgustance. So you could keep a psychic taste journal. Kind of like write down any unexplained tastes you experience and maybe what you were thinking at the time, kind of what Kalina and I are talking about.
Yeah.
So she could taste it. And that's when I was asking, because you also hear it or see it written out, So first the taste comes through. That's your first clair. And then what did you see or feel after? and kind of look for those patterns. Do you always taste sugar when a certain spirit is around?
Yeah.
Or like we had, talked about the example of cookies.
You can also, during a meditation, you can visualize different foods or drinks, and then like kind of absorb the taste and recognize it and be like, okay, this, like, appreciate it.
Because you know what? Anyone can have, like, say Kalina and I both have the same piece of cake. I might taste that first frosting layer. That might come through first for me, the texture and taste of frosting. And she might get just the cake. Like, it's just it's dense or it's moist or whatever, that kind of thing.
But I also think that that's why, since taste is so closely associated with smells, like when you're doing this, you can do it with aromatherapy, like lavender, right? Like nobody knows what the taste of, maybe you know what the taste of lavender. I guess you can have like a lavender chai tea or something. Yeah, you totally can. But like you smell it too. So kind of anytime you have that opportunity to hit both at once, I feel like it's easier to work on both of those clairs to kind of like melt that into your subconscious.
Yes. A really strong, great one that I just thought of is peppermint. For me, I can't help but taste peppermint when I first smell it. So I will first smell it and then it almost hits my taste buds.
Yes.
But taste and smell are so intertwined. Like they're so connected. Sometimes it hits at the same time, I feel like.
Yeah.
Smell, taste kind of
totally
comes together.
I know that we talk about meditating a lot, but there's something to be said for fasting. Because when you're working the upper chakras, mainly the third eye or the crown chakra, fasting is really great because you're clearing your palate completely and it helps your vibration, your dense energy body vibrate a little bit higher. And so when you fast and then you have that first taste of food, like really absorb what it feels like, what it tastes like getting all of the spices really into your palate.
Yeah, that's great. And then you can immediately start to recognize exactly what that is, what taste that is.
Yeah.
There's also some herbs and plants that you can check out and kind of help activate this Clairgustance. Like we talked about peppermint, and that one can clear and sharpen the senses. So maybe drink some peppermint tea. You can inhale peppermint essential oil. Cinnamon activates that intuitive taste. And then basil, which basil is very spiritually energizing. And basil's a strong smell and taste, I feel like.
Yeah.
So kind of play around with those.
You know what's also easy is notice if you're going about your day and all of a sudden you taste like an alcohol, like whiskey or something. Because that's like a very distinct flavor, right?
Yeah,
so like, and maybe grandpa liked whiskey. Like I've heard a lot of mediums like will get specific alcohos for
like that was their drink.
Yes. To be like, oh, I'm tasting a hard liquor. Was your like the aftertaste, the burning or something like that.
Yeah, same kind of thing. I've heard that with cigars too. If they love just to have a cigar on special occasions or something, and there's a specific type or whatever. I don't know anything about cigars, but there's certain flavors, smells, tastes,
The taste of blood also.
Yes.
That's often when if somebody was sick, the taste of poisons, like if you feel like there's something yucky in your mouth, like to me, the taste of poison is almost like soapy. Like it's almost like that should not be in my mouth.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A lot of psychics and mediums will talk about like I tasted something poisonous when I was tapping into somebody who was poisoned.
Yeah.
But it's not like people walk around eating poison. So you have to kind of know what that is for you. And I think,
it's not like we've tested it and tried. What is
I know, but I kind of feel like it's different for everyone. But I do feel like it would have a very distinct flavor. And if you did enough readings, I think you would definitely be able to tap into that and be like, oh, this is definitely what that means.
Distinction for it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's along the line of like chemicals and illnesses. Like for me, I've had COVID, so it was easier for me to pinpoint what that was.
Yes.
But for chemicals, like it's a little bit harder. But everybody knows what like bleach tastes like. Like maybe you're...
Or even like Windex, when you go to spray it to clean your windows and you like
aspirate it.
Yep. And then you can taste it.
Totally.
That kind of thing.
Yes.
Those are the chemicals.
Yeah, that something's like off. That's a great way to tell.
Yeah.
There's just so many different tastes and smells, and they go so hand in hand that like if you open up that I think it will really help, especially pinpoint cause of death, I think.
Yes, for sure.
Or totally current ailments if you're doing psychic work, like
or even allergies. Like I'm tasting peanut butter, but it doesn't feel good in my body. Were they allergic to peanuts? You know, you might start to make that distinction too, because it could go with
Totally.
any of that.
That's such a great point. So we're going to do Ask the Psychics. Okay, I'll read the first question. Dear Medium Mixology, I think I might have Clairgustance, but I'm not sure how to develop it or even tell if I have it. Sometimes I randomly taste things that aren't there. Like I just chewed a piece of bubble gum that's peppermint when I haven't and no one around me has eaten it. How can I tell if this is real, if this is a real psychic ability or just my imagination playing tricks on me? Thanks, Teresa. The bubble gum is a good one.
Yeah, that is. It made me think of my grandpa. He always had butterscotch candy.
Okay.
You know, like
that's
those butterscotch.
so good.
Yes. And as you were reading that, I thought, I guess I have randomly tasted butterscotch. I think sometimes it comes through and I don't pick up on it. It's so subtle. Or I just logically, I'm like, oh, you're craving butterscotch candy. Like, whatever. You know?
You brush it away. I think that's what a lot of people do with Clairs in general when they're not aware of it. So that's why I say knowledge is like 50% of the battle. Once you're aware, you can tap into it.
Yes, so, it's so subtle sometimes.
To Teresa, you just have to notice. And I would say if you have not eaten peppermint and if nobody around you is and you're tasting it like a piece of bubble gum or something,
that is someone coming through.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you have a family member or friend that loved peppermint tea, peppermint gum? I don't know, something with peppermint.
Maybe they're psychologically or psychically telling her she needs to brush her teeth.
Like, you have gingivitis and you need peppermint oil on your gums. They're like, girl, we're trying to help you out.
I'm just kidding.
No. Yeah, I agree with what Kalina said. If you haven't had any and all of a sudden you're tasting it.
And I think that's the major thing when tapping into any Clair, especially like clairsentience, clairvoyance, clairgustance, any of them. But really, if notice the world around you. If it comes in suddenly, I think that's your number one sign that spirit is trying to talk to you.
There's your first flag. Yeah, that it's like, hey, nothing else connects to this, and yet it's showing up for you.
And I think, like you said, it's sometimes so subtle that I'd have to smack you in the face for you to actually stop and be like, oh, Grandpa's here.
Yes, yeah, for sure. I feel like that was someone connecting with you.
I do too.
Just hearing that, I think that you were having a connection, someone trying to communicate with you.
Okay, do you got another question?
Okay, so here's a question. So, dear Kalina and Kaci, whenever I'm doing a tarot reading, I get strange tastes in my mouth, like metal, citrus, or even chocolate. Could this be a message from spirit? How do I figure out what these flavors mean?
Ooh, that's a good one. Does she have a name? He?
Oh, yeah. This is from Sarah.
Sarah, okay. Good job for doing tarot and noticing that while you're doing readings, because we haven't even talked about tarot that much, but really what we talk about mainly is when we're sitting down doing medium readings, but this can be when you're happening every single day of your life. But also if you're giving a tarot reading, something very psychic, you could be leaning into the medium world. So generally I say tarot is more psychic, more present. You're either reading the past, present, or future. And medium is when you're going to the other side, the other realm, tapping into spirits that have crossed over. So you may be doing that, or psychically, you might be seeing that if you're tasting iron, they might have an iron deficiency. Does that make sense? Am I explaining that correctly?
Yeah, you are. I think that was a great explanation. And then I was also thinking how she was saying, how do I differentiate? How do I know if this is part of the reading? I would ask them. I would say, hey, I'm getting the taste of chocolate.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
How does this connect for you? Do you crave chocolate a lot? Or I feel, female kind of motherly energy coming through. Did she have a strong craving did she love chocolate?
Yeah.
Like that was her thing. Just ask.
A lot of trial and error and noticing what is coming through for you and what that means to you. What does chocolate mean to you? And then if it doesn't, ask your client what that means to them, because there's a fit somewhere. I like to say nothing comes through unless there's a reason. So if you're getting information, it's for a reason, and it's up to you as the reader, as the psychic or medium, to figure that out. And I would venture to say sometimes not every psychic is medium, but every medium is psychic. So I would dive in a little bit more to your own gifts, and maybe you already know. It doesn't really say but maybe you already know if you are psychic and medium, and if you know that you are psychic for sure, but not sure on medium, I would ask your spirit guides or the other side. Yeah. Because it could be.
It definitely could be. I was thinking for me, if I smell citrus, for me personally, that represents springtime. Like the blossoms, because we live in Arizona. And so the citrus blossoms, it's a specific smell. They smell amazing.
Yes.
And that's the time of year I get married. I will always remember the smell in March of the blossoms, the citrus trees. So, for me, that means spring. It could even be someone coming through and that was their birthday was in spring or that was their passing or whatever. So it can start to lead you into those other clairs and connect you just by giving you that sense of smell of citrus. So
totally. Love that. Yeah. Okay, I have another one.
Do you have another question?
Dear Kaci and Kalina, I recently had a dream where I was eating something that tasted so real, but I have no memory of ever eating it in my waking life. I wonder what it was.
Yeah.
Could this be a past life connection or is my subconscious just being weird? Pat.
Okay, Pat. I feel like it might have been a family member or friend, someone that you know coming through, but they said they've never tasted that.
I wonder what it is.
Before. We almost need a little more details.
Yeah.
If you've never tasted that before, that makes it a little bit
But if
harder
it tasted
to
so real,
detect.
okay, here's what I think. I think dreams are very real. And I think that we wake up and we forget about them or we brush them off. Like that was just your subconscious, so pay it no attention. And so I think depending on your belief system, if you believe in past life or that this is like reincarnation, that this is your current life, there's still a reason why you are getting it in your current life. And maybe it is a loved one coming through. There is a reason why you're tasting it. And I love that your dreams are so vivid, but who are you with? What are you doing? Pay attention to that dream, not just the actual fruit or thing that you're eating. Is it sweet? Is it sour? Is it bitter? Is it warning you that you're with a friend and it's a very sour fruit and to stay away? Like I like you said, I think I need a little more like.
Yeah, a little more specific detail. And then also kind of what did you do that day? You know how some things that happened during that day and maybe you had some type of sign or symbol that you kind of brushed over and it's coming back through in a different clair. It's like we're going to get her to taste it and while she's sleeping.
Yeah, I would say, or him.
Or him, yeah.
I would say that your intuition is always speaking to you, but it is up to you to listen. So how far you want to go is up to you. But if you're asking the question, my assumption is that you want to lean in. And so I would say pay more attention to who you're with, what you're doing. And maybe it is past life thing, right? Who am I to say it's not? I don't have all the answers. So
I don't either.
All right. Do you want to do one more?
Sure. Let's do it. Okay. All right. This is from Katie. Dear Media Mixology, I sometimes taste things before they happen, like a strong taste of salt before I get emotional news, or a sweet taste before something good happens. Is this a form of psychic premonition? How do I strengthen this?
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. And I wish I had that.
Oh, yeah. So she gets this taste before something good happens. Almost like, hey, we all have different clairs. Like, hey, pay attention. Look at you're about to get a download.
I get a stop sign sometimes. If it's like a no-go, I'll see the stop sign.
Yeah. I'll get my certain guide that will come through. I'll hear her name. And then it's like, okay, get ready. You're about to get something. So we have different things. And so do you. So yours could be, your Clairgustance is strong.
I would say if you are repeatedly getting things, it is the other side using that sense to try and talk to you. So pay close attention. It would be very smart of you to have a journal to write down all of the different tastes and then
connection to the taste.
Yes. And then you can ask for confirmation, like if this is accurate, if this means that something good is about to happen, if this means something bad is about to happen. You can make it as specific as you want. Try and hone the different tastes so it's not just sweet and sour, that it's more like sweet like peppermint or sour like lemon. So you can actually like grow that skill level and be like, okay, now show me lemon if it's really sour. Show me just a little bit sour if it's not,
Yeah, ask your guides. You could even say if it's, even like sweet like a sugar cookie. Does this represent childhood? Like that sugar, that sweet tooth, what does this represent?
Yeah.
And then kind of wait for the answer. You could even try automatic writing and start writing it out and see what comes through.
When you were just saying that, I get a red lollipop sometimes when I think of childhood.
Yeah.
And you've seen me do that in readings. I'll get a red lollipop sometimes. And like the very taste of like having like a red lollipop.
Artificial sweetener.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, ooh, red lollipop. So it took me a while to figure out what a red lollipop means, but I've gotten it several times in a reading. And I'll say if you get a specific smell or taste or anything several times, it doesn't mean that specific thing for that person. So the first few people I did a reading on, I was saying, what's a red lollipop mean to you? And then I had to back up and be like, what's a red lollipop mean to me? Because now I have seen it several times. It's not their symbol, it's my symbol. So I have to distinguish what that means to be able to give them that message.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Totally.
I love that. All right. Should we wrap it up?
We should. Let's do one more cheers.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Sip and see.
Spirits and mediums.
Wild and free. Happy Wednesday, guys.
Happy Wednesday. Next week is clairtangency.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
And psychometry. So
stay tuned.
It'll be so fun.
Yeah, we're going to have a good time. Cheers, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.